Hi everybody, Don Giannetti, Lighting Essentials. Do you know being a photographer is kind of like playing a dating game? It is. I'm going to explain it to you. First of all, I have to preface this by saying I was having an email discussion, kind of a mini consultation, with a photographer in the Midwest, a small town in the Midwest. And he had some really tough concerns for me. He was pretty angry at me. He said, "Why are you always so upbeat about a business that's obviously dying? I live in such and such a town and there's no business here and there are no photographers doing business here because it's a dying business. And did I mention the business was dying?" Well, yeah, that's really kind of interesting. He wants to be a fashion photographer, but he lives in a tiny town. I'm just going to go with challenge number one. I live in Phoenix. There ain't no fashion here. I have friends that live in Houston. There ain't no fashion there. Now, fashion is skinny models being paid amazing amounts of money to wear clothes that nobody can afford. That's fashion. You shooting t-shirts for the local drag strip, that ain't fashion. That's t-shirts. It's OTR. It's catalog. It's whatever. And then the fashion shooters come in with their half-naked girls saying, I shoot fashion. Here's a girl and she's naked. Well, you know, I don't think that's fashion. Anyway, create a problem for yourself and then bitch about the problem. Not a good plan for life. Not a good plan for life. He told me no matter what I said, there was no work up where he was. And no one he knew was doing anything either. He talked to a lot of photographers and they weren't getting any work. So I went on to Google and I found within about 25 miles of his little town, some other little towns, not too far from a major city, by the way, some other little towns, and between them they had 37 graphic designers and 24 ad agencies. Not a ton, but they're in business. There's somebody shooting something for him. Somebody. And since he was only about 65 miles from a really big city that has a lot of ad agencies, hundreds of ad agencies, hundreds of design agencies there in the Midwest. Big ad town. I don't want to mention the name. Yeah. Anyway, it's a big, big town. It's got a lot of stuff going on. He answered his own questions, though, after I sent him an email and said, "Tell me what's going on. You want to bitch? You want to work this out? Tell me what's going on." So he writes his own answers back. And at some point, I think he realized what he was writing back. He's just not doing anything. I want to take you back to high school, the dating game. Y'all remember the dating game, don't you? So you got two people. One person's boring as hell. The other person's really exciting. Who do you want to date? If you're a gentleman and you want to meet one of the cheerleaders, what do you have to do? Well, they're football players or they're basketball players. Or in other words, they're doing shit. If you're a lady and you want to meet the high school jock guy, you got to do shit. You got to be interesting. You just have to freaking be interesting. You have to ask a couple of questions. Are you the kind of person other people want to be around? Are you witty? Are you charming? Are you talented? Are you driven? Do you try new things? Are you making new things? Are you delivering new things? Are you engaged with the people around you? As a photographer? If you are, the dating game between you and clients might just narrow a gap a little bit there. You think clients want to work with people who don't do shit? You think clients want to work with people who sit around and go, well, not much work in this town. Yeah, I was just on my G Plus forum bitching with some other people. They ain't working either. And we all got together and we're going to go and have beers and talk about how ain't nobody working. Maybe you ought to have some beers and go down to the unemployment office. Get a job. Because obviously this freelance thing isn't working out for you. Now, it's not an introvert versus extrovert thing. You can be an introvert and still get shit done. You can be an extrovert and still not do anything. We all know the witty, extroverted guy who does nothing except sit and play video games, and he's really funny and whatever. He's not getting stuff done. I'm an introvert. I get a lot of shit done. I'm not a wild and wacky guy when I'm out in public. I don't even seek that. But I get a lot of shit done. I know a lot of people do. Does that make me more attractive than that guy? I don't know. I will tell you that people who get shit done, who are doing stuff, find that other people who want stuff done kind of gravitate towards them. Let's take motorcycles. Well, let's talk about going cross country on a motorcycle, okay? So if I came to you and I said this, hey, I'm Don. I do a lot of thinking about riding motorcycles cross country. I read a lot of books about it. Once I even dreamed I was in Albuquerque and I couldn't find the road to Boston. I read all the forums and I know the names of lots of motorcycles. Big whoop. Or, hi, my name's Don, and I'm currently riding a Triumph Bonneville from LA to Miami. I'm camping on and out all along the way. I'm taking photographs of the people I'm meeting along the way. This is my motorcycle, and I'm a third of the way there. I'll leave first thing in the morning for Houston. I hope I get through the floods, blah, blah, blah. Now, which one you are more interested in? You want to talk to the guy who sits and thinks about it? You want to talk to the guy who's actually doing it? I know which way I go. Hi, my name's Don Giannetti, and I dream about being a photographer. I know my website's not much to look at, and I don't have time to work on it because I spend so much time on Facebook and G+, and with my forums talking about how bad photography is and how we're so worried about iPhone photographers and moms with cameras are destroying the industry. I don't have any marketing materials because I don't do anything, but I know how sharp L glass is. Oh yeah. And I can tell you all kinds of stats about the newest sensor on the D850. But I don't do anything. Well, how attractive is that to prospective buyers? Huh? Walk into an ad agency and say, hey, and I don't do photographs, but I know a lot of shit about the D850. Hire me to do that campaign. Wear a big smile, too. And look good. You might even wear a black cowboy hat like mine. Even though you may not make it look quite like mine. You see, thinking about creating photographs, not the same thing as doing it. And thinking about doing interesting shit, it's not the same thing as doing it. And thinking about showing your book, making the phone calls, 3 calls a day, 5 a day if you're brave, 3 contacts per day, 5 days a week. 3. I think I was asking for the fucking moon. 3. If you're thinking that doing is easier than thinking about doing, you're really, really wrong. Doing is really hard work. Thinking about doing, not so bad. Working hard to create that work, to become interesting, at least creating work that draws interest, that's hard. Really hard. And I hope you jump out and do it. I wanted to write a book. I wanted to write a book my whole life. And I never did it until a few years ago. And a friend of mine said, you want to write a book? And I said, yeah. He says, why aren't you writing a damn book? And I said, because and he said, all you have to do is write 800 words a day for 2 months. You can write 800 words a day, can't you? I said, yeah. He said, at the end of 2 months, you got a book. But if you're not writing anything, you ain't never going to have a book. Ever, ever, ever. I'll see you tomorrow. Write the book. Make photographs.